He's like this, he's like this, he's like this, he's like this.
Hi everybody, it is Friday, October 9th, 2015. This is Radio Tokyo, of course. I am your host, Jonathan, and with me is Nick, and our very super special guest, Joshua Gundamu from here on YouTube. Now, if you have not seen his channel, you might want to get on that because he does some amazing toy reviews. He's actually a really nice person, and he's taking time out of his super busy day to be here and talk to us. So before, we even get to Nick, because none of you really even give a damn about Nick, let's let Joshua introduce himself. Joshua, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Definitely excited.
And I would like to say hello to our guest. Thank you for coming. And hello, audience. I love you all.
Hello, Nicholas. Long distance handshake.
Long distance handshake.
Except nobody cares about you, Nick. We've been over this. I mean, consistently, no one has cared to hear what you had. I don't even know why people still want you on the show.
Because we get better ratings when I'm here.
That's that's probably true.
Lack of a majority out of 2 to get rid of him.
I think it's because I keep you in check. That's why. And I keep our guests entertained.
That's true. That's true. You're pretty good at that.
So,
Okay.
what's up?
Joshua,
How are you? How are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Don't have anything really going on today.
see, you told me you were going to go save the world, so...
That's true, but, for people like me, that's chump change. And, the harder things are stacking firewood and making custom action figures and working on animation.
Okay, well, for our viewers that are watching, by the way, this is technically a brand new show for us. This was premiered on, Wednesday, doing the actual pretty pictures in the background. So what everyone at home is getting to see right now if they're watching, or if they're going to watch later after it's edited. I don't know why anyone would wait until it's edited. You can watch us live. We're better live, except Nick. Nick is definitely better recorded. But what you're seeing right now is, of course, a mountain of toys, and standing in front of it is, of course, our beautiful cat girl mascot, Diana. So that's clearly what we're talking about today. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something that's been in the news. Oh, actually, it's not even in the news. It's actually just a local issue. Today, after 16 years, hopefully my local high school football team will have a chance to beat the ever-loving shit out of our #1 rivals. We have been rivals with this school since 1909. And today is the first time in 16 years we have had a football team capable of beating them. I mean, I graduated in 2001, okay? I spent my first year in high school hoping for a win against this school. And today, finally, possibly, there's a chance. There is literally no way to get a ticket unless you scalp it right now. It is big business. And here, of course, in Texas, high school football is a big deal. If you have seen Friday Night Lights, you understand how big it is.
It's kind of exciting.
It is. It's really exciting. Friday Night Lights, the movie that came out a few years ago. I live in Marshall, Texas, and Marshall, Texas was actually in the movie against Odessa Permian. Now, in reality, we actually beat Odessa Permian, but you don't see it in the movie because you have to tell the hero story. But we actually stomped them into the damn ground, and hopefully, for the first time, literally in 16 years, longer than I've even been out of high school, our football team will have a chance to beat them. I'm
You know what?
excited. All the tickets have been sold out since Tuesday. But that's just a personal story I wanted to mention. So hopefully it happens.
This coming for the guy that criticizes me for liking sports. Shameful.
Okay.
I criticize you for liking
No. Yes.
college level
No.
sports and everything else, but this is high school.
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear us?
My mic turned off, so I was trying to set it back up again.
Uh,
Well, we can
I
hear
think
you.
I'm back.
We can hear you. As long as we can hear one another, we're good, right?
Sounds right to me.
I think so.
I was just making sure my mic hadn't stopped working.
Well, you're here. First off, there's an image coming up for our viewers at home. Hashtag Team Bottomus and the link for Optibotomus on YouTube. I want to thank him because I reached out to him last night to get an image for this show because our primary topic is going to be about toys and collectors and everything, and that's actually what we need to actually get into at some point in time here with Joshua Gundam here is about what he does. Let him tell all of you what he does. But I contacted Paul, also known as Optibotomus, for an image last night. So there's a free shout out to Paul. Thank you for letting me use this image that's about to come up for our viewers. This is a portion of Paul's collection. As you can see, he has.
Ooh, thanks, Paul.
He has, of course, oh my goodness, he has Transformers, Star Wars, RoboCop, Ghostbusters, Iron Man, Space Shuttles made out of Legos, everything there. He is a pretty popular toy reviewer, but honestly, I think one who's even more popular is our guest. So, without absolute further ado, let's get into discussing our guest, Joshua Gundam. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, sir?
Toy reviewer, Joshua Gundam, years now. Gundam action figures, and started selling toys on eBay and reviewing them, and yeah, it's grown out to be like a daily. I post a new video every day of a different toy, and it's pretty fun. I like it. I'm still doing stop motion animations. Had to take a little break for some health reasons, but back at it. Spent the whole day yesterday editing.
There should be an image up for your store right now. It's called Gundams R Us, correct?
Yeah.
And you do customized work, right?
Yeah, I do a little bit of customization, mostly recolors for the MSA action figure line, which is pretty old, but I like them because they're really durable, which makes them great for stop motion animation.
So, Joshua, I like Gundam, and
Yes,
if I wanted to
sir.
get something from your store, like, what could I expect to get? Just, I can order any custom Gundam that I want?
Customs have to be sent through a personal message, and currently I just do recolors. I don't do customized work because that takes a lot of time. I do a lot of customs for my own collection and things like that, and my wife helps me build them too. She's awesome at cutting things without ruining them, unlike me. But in the store, there's all kinds of different Army Men and Cowboys and Indian toys, and a lot of Gundam MSA action figures. There's some Star Wars toys, G.I. Joes, things like that.
Your wife is an
Not the
amazing
largest store
woman.
ever, but
Just to let you know.
she is. She is. I could, if I could think of all the things she's helped me build. It's insane. In fact, she's a huge component to my stop motion animations because I'll build a set. I'll build the whole set, you know, and usually we're working on an 8-foot by 4-foot movie set for these. And I'll build the set, and I'm like, it's done. Sarah, come look at my movie set. It's amazing. And she comes in, and then she starts messing with it, just moving things and putting stuff here and there. And I'm like, stop. No, it's done. Just stop. Leave it. Oh, look. Hey, that looks really good. And that's where all the detail comes from. It comes from Sarah.
Behind every great man is a better woman.
It's true. It's true.
I'm actually showing a few images right now
So,
of some of the work you've done, and honestly, I have to say this is actually really impressive. Now, it's not like I can show a clip or anything. Maybe one day we'll be able to, but like I said, just right now, it's just still shots, and you do some really really good work, dude. Really good.
thanks. Time goes into it. I like to build physical movie sets rather than, doing it all with CGI or, green screening. I'll use a little bit of chroma key special effects sometimes, but more often than not, it's a tangible set. Many of the effects are tangible, things like that.
Just out of curiosity, how long have you been doing stop motion animation?
Let's see. I've been doing it since about a year into being married. I've been married 8 years, so I think I've been doing stop motion for about 7 years, going on 7.5. Some of the early stuff was pretty rough, though. But it's like anything else. You get better at it the longer you do it.
The first step to
Absolutely
being
right.
good at something is sucking. Really, really badly.
It's true. Means face planting off your bicycle. I'll never do this again.
What actually got you into doing stop motion animation?
Well, I was a big Gundam fan. I liked the action figures. I know a lot of people are really into the models, but I don't like to follow directions. So, I mean, and I don't like how a model kit can fall off the shelf and die. And the MSIA, I mess with them so much. There's been many that have fallen, 5 feet, and the arm might pop off its ball joint. You just stick it back on the shelf, and like, yeah. So I had this huge collection. I liked playing with them and posing them, building little sets for them. And one day I was on YouTube, which was still fairly new at the time, and there were these things called Gundam stop motion animations. And I was like, this is amazing. And so with a really crummy digital camera, I started on the journey that is now Gundam Father of Peace.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't realize that my microphone was muted. Sorry about that. Can you tell us a little bit about Gundam Father of Peace? I don't want you to give away the plot or anything because you're on episode 2 or 3 right now.
I'm halfway through episode 2. There's a slated 10 episodes. Will I ever accomplish all 10? I don't know, but I'm hopeful. One episode can take 2 to 3 years to make, so that's a lot of work. Gundam Father of Peace is a side story within the original Gundam, and this basically you got a pilot who gets a new Gundam, pretty standard thing. But the Oxel Gundam isn't actually from the RX line, from the V project. It's a different company, and they're vying for mass production over the original RX-78. So for Gundam fans, it's kind of like MS Igloo, where the Zuda is trying to win the bid for mass production. Only hopefully the Oxel doesn't explode like the Zuda does. So if you know nothing about Gundam, then just nod your heads and smile. That's what I tell my wife to do from time to time when she doesn't know what I'm talking about. So you got a pilot, is fighting, keep his friends alive, and I don't know what else more to say than that. But there's a lot of characters in it, lots of voice actors, volunteers, things like that. The storylines, always coming together along with the animation. It's a neat process to watch. But it is a ridiculous amount of work to actually be making a series. Sometimes I think I should have just made like a short or something. And, sometimes I do shorts, or there's all these other things I would like to do Gundam stop motions about, but I'm making a series. And, with my health problems that happened over the last 2 years, the fans of the show have continued to wait for the series to continue and sent lots of fan mail. I need to know what happens to these characters. So, it's set in stone. It needs to happen, and it's going to happen, and it is happening.
Well, that's good. I have no idea if Nick has watched it, but I've watched it, and it's was what about a half hour long or so, I think, if I remember correctly, and it's actually very well done. As far as amateur stop motion goes,
Yeah,
I think
every episode's supposed to be a half hour long.
I think as far as amateur stop motion goes, Gundam Father Peace is easily one of the better ones I've ever seen. It really is. I mean, you do super fantastic work. And having watched a lot of your reviews, I've seen a lot of your recolors, and they're honestly, guys, if you need something recolored, ask this man right here. He does amazing work. I'm not kidding. It's beautiful work. Actually, this is the perfect time to ask you this. Is there
And the color doesn't scratch off, and that's the cool part.
It doesn't. This is actually the perfect time to ask you this. How exactly, I don't want you to give away trade secrets or anything, but is there a specific method that you use to do the recoloring? And is there anything, you've been asked to recolor that you just looked at and said, no, I can't possibly do this? Or, is there a detail work you've been asked to do that you were wanting to do, or, just basically, I'm asking, can you tell us all a little bit about your process for the figures, if you don't mind?
I can't really tell you much. It's a trade secret, and the reason why I'm so good at it, so even if someone figured out the base, process, is I've been doing it for 2 years. And so figured out a lot of what does work and what won't work and things like that. But it does have to be PVC plastic, the rubbery kind. I could say that much. So if it's not, like a Gundam MSI action figure, it can't work on a model kit. That probably leaves more questions than answers, though. But I've told everyone if I stop on this service, I will make all of my findings, all my research on it, and all of it public on YouTube. So you can rest easy with that. If I ever stop doing it, everyone will know, and they'll know how to do it.
But then that sort of ruins the mystery. I always say the best mysteries lead to more mysteries.
Yeah, it would, but I'd hate for it to be like this mystery that no one can ever figure out, though.
A lost technology.
Like,
but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Looking at
I have 11 figures that I'm about to start work on from a friend named Neo Rollover CZ on, and we did a trade for the work, and that'll probably take me a couple months, but it should be pretty cool. Lots of forces that are like Titans are going to become Zon captured suits and things like that. So instead of being blue, it'll be green and things like that.
See, I used to have several MSI figures, because I'm a Gundam fan. That's actually how I found you on YouTube. I think somewhere I may have 1 or 2 left, but I had a dog that got a hold of them and ate them up. Particularly, the best one I ever had was the Goof custom. It was my favorite one. I loved it. I loved that suit. Out of everything that's ever been on Gundam, I think that's probably
That's an
my
awesome figure.
it is. It's beautifully done. I mean, looking at it, it looked like it stepped out of Gundam. Uh, I just completely went blank. I was
What,
gonna
with the
say
mess team?
yes. Thank you. I'm sorry. I have no idea why I went blank on that. But it was a beautiful figure, and they got eaten by my dog, so it was gone. But I had several other ones, that
You know, the dog chewed ones make really good battle scars.
they do. They really do. He had managed to chew one of its feet off, so I pretended it was just kind of sitting there damaged for a while, and then it kind of fell off the shelf and got completely eaten. But I still have I believe the shoulder pauldron for it somewhere, and maybe a couple other things. I'd have to dig through my stuff. But looking, at some of the figures you've done, honestly, I have a difficult time believing that they're actually recolored. I really do. They look like they have just been taken out of the package the way you show them.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people, and I'm happy to say that I've never had a disappointed customer. I haven't done tons, because the call isn't massive, but I've made probably between myself, especially Neo Rollover, who I did like 20 for earlier this year or last year. I've probably made 70 or so.
That's still a pretty darn good track record, if you ask me.
It is. That's actually really impressive. I mean,
I like them because you're always like Bandai. I'm gonna rant for a moment, but the MSIA line was awesome. It was really popular here in the United States, and then they released G Gundam, which is fine. And being a toy reviewer, I've come to appreciate the G Gundam toy line because they did what they did in the show, but they stopped making everything else. And G Gundam didn't really resonate with the Universal Century fans who had the money. And so G Gundam sat, and G Gundam sat, and G Gundam sat, and inevitably kind of brought an end to the toy line here in the States. Where instead, if Bandai had just made recolors, or slight modifications to some of them, this Zaku is a ground type Zaku, or this Zaku is a mine layer Zaku, or things, that would have been really easy to do. This is a blue Zaku instead of a, things like that. I think things would have went totally differently.
well, there were a couple of
So I kind of think of I want to pick up where Bandai dropped the ball with a dead toy line that not many
That
people
is-
care about, but I love.
That is really interesting, because a lot of the reasons that the Japanese products don't transfer well to the US is because they don't think the US will buy the toy lines. But maybe they've just been trying to sell the wrong toys the whole time.
well, see, I think part of the problem is that
Toy line, they were good toys, but no one liked G Gundam.
uh, G Gundam had its good points and bad points, but it was a switch from what I think most people who like Gundam were used to. Like having the original series air, 0080, 0083, 8th MS Team, and so on. That was on, and then there was a couple times where Char's Counterattack was on. I mean, that was a lot of that, and of course, years and years ago, Cartoon Network showed Gundam Wing. So
I think Gundam Wing did fine.
yeah, but
G Gundam was just so out there. It was like a complete switch from everything.
it really was. But I think
Having sold I originally just was trading off stuff, and people started buying from me years ago, and so it evolved into Gundams R Us, which sells more than Gundams now. But a lot of people overseas seem to have liked G Gundam. I used to sell more G Gundams overseas than I did in the U.S., I think.
See, G Gundam is not really a bad series, and looking through some of your reviews, I can see where you have taken G Gundam figures and been able to customize them into other things and make really awesome figures. And I do think, that Bandai could have done that. But part of the problem is, and I really don't understand this. There is
Yeah, and
actually
the G Gundam toy line would have been fine if they just intermixed it with more Universal Century stuff at the same time. G Gundam went well with kids, but the more to them so much. And so, yeah.
I think it was a case of Bandai really trying to push one part of its product because I also think G Gundam
Too big
was
to fail.
maybe, well, yeah, and I think that G Gundam was an experiment too for Gundam. If they wanted to see if they wanted to go into a different direction. Because G Gundam, you could make a lot more toys. We saw that. Just like there was basically a new mobile suit every single episode.
personally, I think G
Yeah,
Gundam.
and they made so many of them, which was great. But why didn't they do that with Gundam Wing? Gundam Wing, the only bad guys you had was Epion, who, is questionable in the bad guy realm somewhat. You have the Tall Geeses, which some of them also are good, and you had the Leos, which thankfully we had 3 Leos. The model kit lines didn't really get much in lines of Leos. Like, people are hunting for them to this day because they don't make them really, and you have to mod Tall Geeses into them. But they never made an Ares, which they finally made a robot spirit of. They never made a Cancer or a Pisces, or there's all these bad guy mechs in Gundam Wing that they never made. I wanted those. I still want those.
See, I think essentially, like with going back to G Gundam for a second here, I think G Gundam is probably. I really hate to say this, but G Gundam is Gundam designed by George Lucas. You just can't leave well enough alone, and you have to make this crazy, outlandishly dumb show, and just take something that's perfect and mess with it continually, and then say, all of these stupid bullshit changes we've just made, we're gonna make toys out of it, and you're gonna buy it. No, I did. Oh, I didn't buy the only G Gundam MSIA figure I wanted to get was actually Funsaiki, because Funsaiki is amazing. I like the Funsaiki. But I remember I cannot remember the name of the Gundam, but it's the one that has the big green bell shaped base and the ball arms. One of the ones that I've seen you customize numerous times. Um, Howloon, I think. Something like
Mandela
that.
Gundam.
The what one? Still there?
I'm still here. It's the Mandela Gundam.
Yeah, thank you. That one. I remember walking into our local Walmart and 2 or 3 rows of those just sitting there because nobody bought them. Nobody bought them at all, and everything else was getting bought up. And I just looked at
Yep.
that every time I went to the store, and I said, I could buy this ugly, disgustingly ugly Gundam figure. Really, it's okay. For those of you who have never seen G Gundam, I'm going to describe to you what the Mandala Gundam looks like. It has a green base that looks like a bell, like a corroded bell, and it has 4 million ball joints on its arms and its body, and it's weird and creepy. And there was at least 40 of them at my local Walmart because nobody bought the damn thing.
They're particularly awful, and I have yet to turn them into anything successfully, is in terms of customization for, anything.
Clearly, it was a Gundam designed by committee. Like I said,
or just someone sleep deprived.
see, I think there might have been a lot of.
I actually early this year I betrayed my Gundam collection and liquidated the G Gundam portion.
No.
By liquidate, do you mean?
And
you
I
melted
thought
it
I
down?
would regret it, but I haven't. I haven't regretted it once.
That's sad, but funny at the same time.
See, I can imagine
I
you.
know. I like, but it's Gundam, but it doesn't bring me joy, and I would not just one of every figure. For many of them, especially if they're mass production types, it requires like 3 or 4 of every figure, just in case. And because I don't like to chroma key, a second figure back into the background or anything like that. And so collection gets so huge, and then prop storage and sets and everything. It's like, I need more room. Something needs to go. What is going to go? I have one room to myself to keep my stuff in, and my wife nicely lets me keep all the custom building stuff in the upstairs living room, because we got a downstairs living room and an upstairs living room. It's kind of a different shape house. But I'm not allowed to take over the rest of the house with my toys. So,
Damn it.
got to start picking sometimes.
See, I just had this mental image.
Every
of
once
you-
in a while, I'll move something around to see if the Gundams can militarily take over the kitchen table or something. It's a constant battle.
I had this mental image of you, standing in front of your
Battle between good and evil.
You showing off pieces of your collection from time to time, so I can see you looking at it and just, kind of tapping your chin and saying, you know what? That one's going, that one's going. Oh, all the G Gundams going, and then you just grabbing them in your arms and walking outside and just throwing them in a fire and saying, burn! Burn!
I
And
don't think I could ever do that.
that middle image.
But I have to
just
watch
amazes
myself because I'm like, ooh, a GM version 2 for $40. Yes. Wait, I have 8 of them. Do I really need 9? Yes. Yes. No. No. Come on, Brandon. Self-control. Self-control.
Give in.
Yeah, man. What's one more?
Okay, you talked me into it.
Yes. More Gundams. The best thing. We've accomplished our goals.
See, okay, honestly, what's one more going to hurt?
I'd probably have a lot less if I didn't do stop motion.
See, no. See, the
Well,
problem-
that's the thing. It's always 3 more, and then 4 more customs, and then more customs, and then like there's ones that I've taken, and I've taken joints from version 2 variations of the figures, and then swapped out the joints so that it was more flexible for animation. So there's always a new custom added to the collection. The shelf's always getting more full. Then there's the recoloring, It's like, oh, wow, now I have a green version of this. Where am I going to put it? But, the G Gundam's made a lot of room, so life is good for now.
Well, see, just try and switch topics here for a moment. Speaking of more and more and more, Nicole Arbor is making headlines yet again, and now I would like to stay focused solely on toys this episode, but there's a couple things that have been bothering me this week, and while you're on here, I would like, if it's all right with you, to get your opinions on a couple things, if that's okay.
That's fine. I think Gundam just dominated for a while, so
Gundam
that's
should dominate.
It's normal
It's
of a
Gundam.
military toy, though.
It's Gundam.
Military domination.
Okay.
We can share.
Okay. Nick's going to kill me for even bringing her up because I have a problem with Nicole Arbor. I think she's, funny in her own way. She's certainly an attractive woman, but she has made another video, clearly designed with the sex sales thing in mind. It's trying to tell people how to get multiple partners. Now, her last video, telephone's call.
Exciting.
Yeah, I had a phone sitting next to me. I actually got two of them. Why are all the phones here?
That's okay.
Our fans are
My wife
calling
got
you
it, though.
as we do the show to order Gundams like they should be. Go buy his.
They could be. They could be. Actually, could be. But
Call
yeah,
call now 1-800-GUNDAM.
I just wanted to bring her up
Be careful.
because
I don't know what that phone number is.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen if someone actually called that.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Anyway,
Let's find out. No.
You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing? We've just completely, ignored talking about Nicole Arbor because I think that's what everyone needs to do. I think everyone needs to just look at her and say, you had your moment. You had your 15 minutes of fame, and it's time to shut the hell up and get on with your life.
I saw one of her episodes recently, and I just cringed. I cringed the entire time. I mean, the Deer Font
None of it
people
sounded
video
very
was
good.
the Deer Font people video was not great. But somehow she got worse. Yeah.
She did, and see, one of the issues I have with her.
Why be famous?
What's that?
Why be famous when you can be infamous?
Basically, now see, a problem that I have with her, with her, especially her fat shaming video, because let's just be honest, it was a fat shaming video. My goodness. Okay, one of the problems I have with her is I like to eat. Okay, I like to. I'm not going to deny it. I like to eat. And there was actually probably, arguably, the first celebrity chef in the United States. Paul Prudhomme died. Wednesday? I think Wednesday or Thursday. I am a horrible person. I should know this. But we have a cookbook. After my dad got it, and he's made his gumbo a couple times, couple things out of his cookbook, and he's a good cook. Americans like to eat. What's wrong with people who like to eat? And I've never heard Nicole Arbor actually address that. She just says, "Well, you're fat. You need to make better choices." Paul Prudhomme made the awesome choice to make food for people who like to eat food, and it was good food. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you, Paul, for everything you did. You were a fantastic chef. You made amazing food, and I'm sorry that you're gone.
12-gun salute.
More like 12 shrimp salute. That was a bad joke. I should feel.
Yeah, I used to work for a funeral home actually, and being overweight will, shorten your life considerably. We had to fill out death certificates and things, and sometimes there was no question why the person was dead. They were 600 pounds, and you're just like, heart disease, just anything, take your pick. But not everyone's overweight because of bad life choices. I ended up with a very rare disease called a glycogen storage disease. And the doctors found a treatment for it, so I'm doing pretty good now. But for 2 years, I would crash all the time like a diabetic or a hypoglycemic, except my blood sugar was fine. And so I had to eat food, like a meal, every 2 hours. And I ate less. I just crashed, which was kind of threatening to my whole living thing. And I couldn't exercise or I'd crash because it was actually an energy storage issue, not a insulin blood sugar issue. And so it got bigger, and it got bigger, and it got bigger. I was like, I don't like this. I can't do anything about it. If I exercise, I crash. If I eat less, I crash. And people got things that affect them. Fortunately, I'm getting well now and losing weight quickly. But to just think that person's fat because they made bad choices might not be true. And I hope that people that think things like that don't end up having to find out the hard way, by something, illness-wise or a broken leg or something happening to them. But being ill and gaining weight from that, I don't think I was the guy that really looked at people who were overweight like that guy needs to lose some weight. I've known people that did that, but I did think, one person should probably make some healthier decisions. And being ill and gaining weight from being ill for 2 years taught me to be a bit more graceful and just recognize that there are factors in people's lives you have no idea about.
Pretty much. But just, keep moving through topics here. Speaking of people who are shrimp and people who make bad choices, I just want to bring up Ben Carson because, oh my God. Okay. For starters, Nick, remember the thing we discussed last week we didn't want to discuss?
Mostly I didn't want to discuss, but yeah, go on.
Well, I mean, the shooting that happened last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, after that, Mr. Carson, who is running as a Republican for president, if you're not familiar with him, has decided to speak up about it, and he said, he was actually asked on Fox News, what would you do if someone, pointed a gun at your head and said, "Do you believe in God?" Because apparently, the shooter in Oregon, was supposedly, and I've only seen one or two people that have actually talked about this, but apparently he was asking them about their religion, and of course, people are saying, "Oh, well, he's just a big bad atheist. Atheist, wrong, blah 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 blah." Now,
Didn't they... Wait, wasn't that, didn't they do that about the song that they made a long time ago? There was a really popular song about that, basically.
well,
After one of the shootings.
there's been a lot of stuff put out
And then they said
about
it really wasn't true, and that it never really happened.
probably, but see, like, here's the honest thing. Most of my adult life, and I'm talking, high school forward now, school shootings have been a thing. People have been getting shot, and you can say, well, it's because it's gun-free zone. Oh, you damn well please. The truth is, people are going to kill one another because they want to kill one another. They don't have to have a gun. I mean, the day of the Sandy Hook shooting, there was something like 50 kids killed, 50 or 100 kids killed.
I've seen people kill each other with screwdrivers.
Yeah, yeah. The day of the Sandy Hook shooting, it was.
I used to work for a funeral home. I've seen people kill each other with screwdrivers.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but there was a school in China where someone walked in with a knife and killed like 100 kids. But oh my goodness. Okay, it frustrates me to talk about this because, as I've pointed out more than once, I'm a gun owner. But I'm not in favor of gun violence. I'm really not. I think Ben Carson saying, "Well, I would be the hero."
Don't you know your gun could run loose and kill people without you knowing it?
It could. It really could. But see, like sometimes I listen, to what these politicians like Ben Carson say, and they'll say, "Well, I wouldn't just stand there. I would." And okay, his statement would probably take a normal person a minute to make. It was like something along the lines of, "Hey, everybody needs to rush him. He may shoot me. He may shoot a couple of you, but he can't shoot us all." Okay, Ben. For starters, okay, in Ben Carson's, pacing, it would be, well, I would say, hey, everybody. He has that slow, methodical speech to him, which is not a bad thing. But the average person with a gun pointed directly at them. Now, whether the shooter, as the person who's going to shoot you, is Christian, Jew, Muslim, atheist, Buddhist, whatever you want to say, whatever candy flavor of the week we're going with here for who's killing who, uh, if they have a gun to your head and you go, "Hey, everybody needs to tackle him," before you even finish saying "Hey," they're probably going to have pulled the trigger. That's just reality, and I think for
Yeah.
a man running for president to say, well, I would try to inspire everybody else to do that, that might give people false hope. And that's not what, sorry, Dr. Carson, that's not what you need to be doing. You don't need to be giving people false hope because kind of the thing with him running for president is to say, well, the guy we have in office right now has failed in the area of hope.
Well, people don't know what they'll do in times of panic. You like to have these nice, if I was ever in a fire, I would be the guy who's calm under pressure. I had a guy like that once on a cave exploring trip. He's like, guys, I just want you to know that I'm awesome. And if anything goes wrong, I'm going to take control. Well, we did something dumb. We had our lunch and we used a road flare for light. And this was our without argument a really bad idea. But we had a football field to our left and a football field to our right. I thought it would kind of dissipate. Well, we were kind of smoked in, and so we had to crawl on our hands and feet to get out of the cave. Well, the whole time Captain Awesome is in the back. I can't die back here. And we're like, dude, just keep crawling. We're gonna get through. We're gonna be fine. And I was a little bit nervous about it myself, but he was just whining and thought he was gonna die. And an hour earlier, he was like, if anything ever goes wrong, I'm gonna assume command. But I'm gonna make the point that Ben Carson was asked what he would do. Someone bothered to ask. It wasn't just like he just decided, I'm going to be awesome and post publicly what I would do. So you got to consider, what would be a good answer? What would he have said would be a good answer? Well, if I was in that situation, I'd piss my pants and lay down and play dead. That would be a stunning answer. I think we'd all vote for him for president for that, right? I mean, you got to have you're on the spot, you're going to have to come up with something better than that.
That's actually a good way of looking at it. A lot of the things he said have clearly been taken out of context, but, when you're running for president of the United States, what you say needs to be said, and you need to mean it, but of course, it didn't really address the fact that there was actually two more school shootings today. There was one in Arizona, and then one here in Texas. Now, the one in Arizona was initially reported as being, I think, 4 people shot, one having died. So that's essentially a mass shooting, because mass shooting is 4 or more people shot. And then the one in Houston was, I think, 1 or 2 people shot. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that that's the world we live in. But like I said before, things happen, and crazy things happen. Like, I don't know, Playmobil making a toy of a brown-skinned individual in torn clothing with a slave collar, and putting on the instructions for their pirate ship that figure needs to wear the collar, and that it belongs to them, and that they need to go in a cage. So
This is a weird thing to include in toys. Like, I don't know, someone likely thought it was a good idea. Someone approved it, but slavery is a blight in human society. It's a blight. And people think, well, slavery doesn't really exist anymore except in third world countries, but there's a whole sex slavery circuit in our country, in the underground, that people don't even know is there. Slavery still exists today. And do our kids need to be playing with slave toys? You know, I don't think so. The thing could have just been left out. It would have been fine. No one would have thought the wiser.
My thing is, and Nick, are you still with us, by the way?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay. You being awfully quiet, I was kind of worried. Actually,
Are you sure that's Nick? Or what if someone got rid of Nick and that's his replacement?
No, it's me.
Oh, okay.
You'd recognize if it wasn't me because I would agree with everything John says.
well, see, I was actually the entire time I was waiting for you to offer your opinion. So now that we all know you're still here, what is your opinion of this supposedly not slave figure? Which, again, I want to remind you, this is the only dark-skinned toy in this set. Ragged clothing, and he has a little clip-on, supposed to be a metal collar, and he gets to live in the cage inside the hold of the ship. So, take it away, Nick.
It's as if someone decided to try to be very historically accurate for whatever reason, and then made it worse, or not historically accurate, or I'm not sure what exactly their thought process was, but anyone should have seen that this was a bad idea. I'm really not sure how they didn't see that this was a bad idea. Like, sometimes I see
And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense with pirates anyways. They're not slave traders.
Well, some of them sort of would do that, but there are also African pirates that they would take on because generally they didn't care as much. Just like there were a lot of black cowboys, and when law and order is not on your top priority, there's oddly enough a lot of inclusion. So
Yeah.
it's just it's really weird and disturbing and just why?
See, my thing is,
It's it's just odd. If nothing else, it's an odd oversight.
it is, but, like, again, historically,
I do think we make them too seriously, like, oh, someone did this personally to offend me. They did this against me on purpose. But that doesn't mean that was a good idea.
I question, especially how some of these big companies can release some of these things and just think that they're good ideas, or just I don't know. There's a complete lack of quality control here.
G Gundam.
basically, yes.
At least it was more fun than the George Lucas Star Wars movies.
Nick, did you just say that? Wait, okay. I was gonna ask if you were saying that slavery was more fun than Star Wars, and I was kind of, questioning for a moment. But then I realized you're talking about G Gundam. No, Star Wars is still
No.
infinitely more fun.
I should note something as a toy collector. To find this pirate set with a slave in it. This thing's going to be worth ridiculous amounts of money, and nothing more than a few weeks, because they're going to get pulled. There's going to be an official apology. They'll be burned in a fiery furnace somewhere, and it's going to be it's going to be pregnant Barbie all over again.
So basically, go buy it now and then forever preserve the shame of Lego.
Well, see,
I probably
I actually don't think that it
wouldn't.
was.
But you know, if you were a toy reviewer, you could probably make some money, a lot of views off it when it goes, sideways.
See, like my thing is, I don't
You
think
just rag
that.
on it. But that would require buying Playmobil, which is rather expensive.
See, I don't think
Oh,
that it
that's
was.
right. It's not Lego. It's Playmobil. Oh, that explains a lot more. Okay, I feel better about Legos now.
Well, see, I actually don't think that it was intentionally put in there as a slave. I think it was just supposed to represent. Oh, how can I possibly put this without saying it was a slave? I think it was put in there to represent. Um, we'll go with
There's
prisoner.
no way it wasn't a slave.
We'll
Just
we'll go with
there's
a
no way.
really badly sunburned prisoner. You know, really,
no,
really darkly tanned prisoner. You know, the
You-
only
you can't defend this. You literally can't.
the only dark skinned person on the ship.
If it was a white person in red color, probably no one would make a big deal about it. Which
Or if there were
is
black
equally a problem, I
sailors
think.
among, if there were dark-skinned sailors along with the
I don't
light-skinned
know.
sailors.
We just don't need slave toys. Period. White, black, whatever. We don't need slave toys. We could have done without it. You know, if the kid wants prisoners, all he needs is the cage. You know what I mean?
Well, see,
You, Playmobil civilian figure, get in the cage.
that's kind of why I'm. It's not that I don't want, to essentially call a spade here. Wow, that was possibly the most racist thing I've ever said. Because anyway, damn.
You're just making yourself look bad at this point.
I see. I don't want to say it's supposed to be a slave, but kind of all of the signs say this is person who's imprisoned. I mean, tattered clothes, dark skinned. And like looking at it, and okay, for those of you who are watching, if
Even if it's a prisoner, they're going to become a slave.
well, see, okay,
I
looking at it,
have a really good question that we don't really have the answer to.
what's that?
Playmobil, to my understanding, is not a U.S. company. It's an international company. I could be totally wrong on that, okay? But what's the international view on that? Because we come with our own world views and things like that, So, and rightly so. It's in our American history, but we kind of go through, elementary school and everything. Slavery was bad. Slavery was bad. I don't know about your upbringing, but in the Toledo public schools that I grew up in, I'm telling you, near every year we learned Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. There was like 1 or 2 years where we didn't, but we never even got into World War II or Vietnam. I still don't know what Vietnam was about. I knew a little bit, but we never got into modern history. We just covered that constantly. And so I think in our American worldview, we have this very narrow, oh no, that looks like slavery. Oh, bad, kill it, destroy, but I'm kind of curious, what did the international toy buyers think, that they're just like, oh, they got a slave guy on this pirate ship. Maybe no one even thought about it twice, but because we're very hyper alert about it, we're all in agreement. That's bad. I still don't think it's okay. It was the best idea, but I'm kind of wondering, and I don't think we have the answer, but was it such a big deal overseas?
Well,
given our worldview here.
I'm guessing it would be a major problem in Western Europe, which did involve in the slave trade, as long as the Latin Americas. Also, apparently Playmobil is from Germany.
Oh, well, see, that's
Yeah.
really all that's really
That's what I thought.
really all that needs to be said about what is wrong with the story. No offense, Germany, but
Now you're offending the Germans as
Mobile
well.
is run by neo-Nazis.
oh well, see,
This is not your best show,
We'll get our
John.
revenge through toys.
This is not your best show, John. You're just offending everyone across the board.
good. Be offended. I mean, sometimes
Are you
it's
trying to become Nicole Arbor? Or is that what you're
hey,
trying to do?
no. I will never be that offensive. I will
Better
never.
to be infamous than famous.
Actually, I do not have an image of this to put up. I wish I did. But there was a Cracked.com article yesterday talking about the band Ace of Base and how their lead singer is actually a neo-Nazi, and uh, their music. If you look at the lyrics, it's talking about bringing peace to the country and killing individuals who aren't who shouldn't be there, and shaming a woman who had a child by someone, and the video of it was actually her holding a necklace and fiddling with it. In the video, she's holding a necklace and fiddling with it, and the necklace was all six-pointed stars. And I started to listen to this, and I'm like, "Damn, Germany, what's going on here? I mean, come on, you're not supposed to be that way anymore." But then I think about the reaction that people have had about the refugee crisis over in Europe, and Germany's the only country that's essentially saying, "Yes, please come in here, just en masse. We want to help you." And I'm like, they really cannot be all that bad, even though they've probably said some very, very, very racist things about things. I mean, hell, if they're making toys of slaves, I don't know what else Germany can be capable of.
Basically, the lesson here is slavery is bad.
It is bad. It is bad. Unless apparently you are a ninth grade student and you're using a now see I would this is another one of the things I wish I had.
Those weren't slaves. Those were quote unquote workers.
That's actually what I was going to mention. I actually wish I had bothered to upload this so I could post this and all our viewers could see this. But there was a McGraw-Hill textbook that came out for ninth grade U.S. geography, and in the section entitled what was it called? What was it called? Patterns of Immigration. That's it. Patterns of Immigration. There is a picture that shows the United States, and of course, it's all these little colored dots that show you where people came from. Like they're Mexican, Norwegian, Spanish descent, whatever. And there's one that does not get its own little explanation of why it's purple, and purple is kind of questionable here. But there's a little chat bubble that pops out, and it says the Atlantic slave trade between the 1500s and 1800s brought millions of workers from Africa to the southern United States to work on agricultural plantations. The Atlantic slave trade between the 1500s
Wow.
and 1800s brought
I
millions
hope
of
they had
workers
good health
from
care.
Africa to the southern United States to work agriculture. I read it twice over out loud for a reason. This is a section called Patterns of Immigration, and we're talking about the Atlantic slave trade brought workers. They brought workers. The slave trade brought, the Playmobil, the Playmobil pirate ship ran by Nicole Arbor and Donald Trump and whoever else is crewing it, looked at, the black people and said, "We want to hire you. Why are we in chains? You're workers. You're workers." That's essentially what this book is saying. Oh, it's crazy.
That's like taking a dog turd and rolling it in sugar and deep frying it and calling it food.
I live in Texas, and that would probably be food here.
Probably.
I mean, oh,
At
when-
least on your side of things.
What is this? It's a delicacy.
I mean, like, when you think about some, going back to Nicole
Southern
Harbor
Texas
for a
actually
second,
has good food.
we do have good food. But going back to Nicole Harbor,
No, Southern
fat shaming.
Texas does.
It's in that famous chef cookbook.
I was saying Southern Texas has good food.
Is it in that famous chef cookbook?
Paul Prudhome's? No. He was from down around New Orleans. So he did Cajun food and all that. Really, it's actually really good. The gumbo recipe with seafood gumbo, it tells you how long to boil the rice and how much rice to use and everything. Not like an average person can't say I'm gonna boil rice. So we're not talking Bobby Flay and how to boil water here. But like it's a specific way to boil the rice to where it's what you need to eat. It tells you how to make the broth for it. It tells you how to make what's called the roux, which is to everyone else it's gravy. But it tells you how to do all these wonderful happy things to make this, and it's if you follow the recipe the way it's intended, it takes something like 13 hours total to make the gumbo, but it's so damn good. Really, really, really good.
Gumbo. Making me hungry. New subject.
The new subject giving us food.
Sorry about that. I was actually checking our time to see
Yeah.
we're actually just over an hour now.
7 round buffet after the show.
But yeah, we're just over an hour now. So we actually did have an act. Going back to talking about toys. Not just Gundam and everything. I only have images ready to show, for viewers, of a specific line, and I picked this because when I spoke to Nick and Joshua Gundam about this, we mentioned, the idea was going to be to talk about, like our favorite toy lines and what we would buy and whatnot. And Nick, did I actually mention earlier, like last week or something, that I was going to watch all of Power Rangers from the beginning? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, you mentioned it a couple times.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've been rewatching Power Rangers all the way through, and there has been a resurgence lately of Power Ranger toys. First was, of course, the Legacy Power Morpher that actually has got sound that it plays the show's theme song, but it doesn't play it all the way through. You have to hold like a button on the back of it, and then it goes like that. It's weird and creepy sounding. But it comes with Tyrannosaurus, Mastodon, Saber Tiger, Triceratops, and Pterodactyl coins you can put in there. It's also a functional belt buckle, and it closes and opens. It does some neat stuff, and that was the first one that came out. All the coins are, of course, die cast. It's got really good electronics and whatnot. But those have been in stores a lot. They were only at Toys R Us, in fact. Most of the what's called the Legacy line has only been at Toys R Us. But it's updates of stuff like the Power Morpher, and then there was, of course, the Dragon Dagger, which is, I cannot remember who it was on YouTube. I actually watched the view of it. Their video reviewing it, but they have the original one from when they were a kid, and they had the Legacy one, and the Legacy one is so much better look. I mean, it looks like what you would have seen in the show. I mean, it's beautiful, and uh, part of that makes it beautiful is all the gold detailing on there is not gold paint. It's actually uh, plated with 24 karat gold.
Wow.
Wow.
It's how about that? It's mostly die cast, but I mean it's die cast, put it in 24 karat gold. It has a little bit of plastic on it, but it's beautiful, and it's electronics. The original one, would play the da 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 and the da 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 da, whatever was on the show, and then there was like sword sounds and whatnot. Essentially, what was done with the Legacy Dragon Dagger is to take those sounds and throw them away. And they took the ones that you hear in the show and put it inside the toy. I mean, now you can play it and you can actually stop it. As opposed to the original Dragon Dagger, if you went to play, either tune, it would play all the way through and it wouldn't stop. This one, when you let go of the button, it stops playing it, and it's really impressive. It's really really well done. I think it's probably my favorite Legacy figure that I've seen. Other than, I don't know, something like the Titanus figure, which has come out. Now, if you never watched Original Power Rangers, Titanus was, of course, the Carrier Zord, and he just kind of shows up. They go on a mission to get an item, and he's just all of a sudden there.
So kind of like the episode 1 to 3 of
I think
Star
them
Wars.
re-release is pretty awesome.
What were we asking, Nick?
I was saying it just shows up like the first 3 Star Wars movies, technically. Episodes 1 to 3.
Kinda, yeah. But I mean, it's really interesting to look at this. But of course, Titanus is also Toys R Us exclusive.
It's on a Star Wars hate rage right now.
That Well, you can do the rage about Star Wars. I mean, it's not like there's a new movie coming out in December. It's not like there's possible hope that it's going to be a lot better. No, not like that could ever happen.
A fool's hope. But anyways, go on.
I think there's all kinds of cool toys being re-released and things like that. The original Ninja Turtles, Micro Machines, Star Wars toys.
Actually, one of the things I'm excited for is the Star Wars Lego toys. Since we're talking about Star Wars, or I was. I really loved the sets. The X-Wing set was probably my favorite Lego set to build ever. And I'm really excited to see the new Lego sets and what they can do with those.
Speaking of Star Wars, for those of you who are actually watching this instead of listening to it, I just magicked in a image of Gwendolyn Christie, who has been on Game of Thrones. She plays Captain Phasma, and it's her standing next to people dressed as the new Stormtroopers. So it's not like we're gonna have a character from Game of Thrones and Star Wars, Nick. Do you really want to bitch about it? Do you really want to bitch about it? I mean, you could possibly wind up being written into Game of Thrones and killed off by George R.R. Martin because he read the article about Nicole Arbor and he maybe got a new idea.
I don't know. That, I might be okay with that.
See, I really don't know anybody who would not be okay with being in Game of Thrones and being killed off. I mean, it's Game of Thrones.
It's kind of a badge of honor almost.
So, are you gonna do your Star Wars rant or not? 'Cause I've been waiting. I've been waiting to hear this. I
No,
hate
no,
Star Wars.
I'll save. That's going to take too much time. I'll save that for another show.
No, 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 no,
Plus,
no, 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 no. Go
No,
ahead.
it's late.
Go ahead, Nick.
We've already been over an hour. No, we've already been over an hour. I want to talk about toys. I want
We're
to talk
talking about
about
toys. We're talking about toys. So just go ahead and get your Star Wars rant out of your system. We'll be quiet and we'll
No,
give you.
I need at least a full show for that.
Okay, well then give us a preview of why it is you officially and formally hate Star Wars.
No, not all of Star Wars. I love episodes 4 to 6. It's 1 to 3 that I have a burning, raging hatred for that I want to tear George Lucas a new one for. That's all.
Just for clarification, by 1 to 3, do you mean the ones that came out in the 70s and 80s, or do you mean the prequels?
The prequels.
Okay.
Because they're bad.
But why are they bad, Nick?
Anyways, toys. Yeah. So
Jar Jar
let's see.
Binks.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the Jar Jar Binks toy. Let's talk about the Jar Jar Binks toy. How annoying was it for you? If you ever got it, did either of you get it?
I liked Jar Jar Binks. He is my favorite Star Wars character ever.
That is the worst lie you have ever told.
Jar Jar Binks is a true Jedi.
Misa Jar Jar Binks. Misa love you, Nick.
Yeah. Anyways,
Nick, are you saying you don't like Jar Jar?
I might be the one person that didn't have as big of an issue with Jar Jar as everyone else. My issues lie elsewhere. Jar Jar can be Jar Jar. Just really annoying. Really, really annoying.
Have you seen
Really annoying.
Have you seen the Clone Wars series at all? Either of you?
Yeah.
So you know that Jar Jar made several appearances in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still made him my favorite character. Favorite character in Star Wars ever. I think Jar Jar is the absolute most amazing creation George Lucas ever had. Darth Vader? Nah. Luke? No. Emperor? No. Ewoks? No. Chewbacca? Han? Leia? No. None of that. Nothing beats Jar Jar Binks in scale of sheer awesomeness. And it's actually making my head hurt trying to continue saying this.
I'm going to remember that you said this and just replay this at a future date. I'm going to record you saying this and just replay it for you whenever I feel like it.
Also, for those of you watching, apparently our stream just decided to die in the middle of it. So, sorry if you were watching and it just kind of cut off on you. That was strange. I wasn't expecting that. I just looked up and it just said the stream is offline. So hopefully we don't have a problem at all.
I hope so, because that would suck.
Start over. That would suck.
No. Everyone get water.
Yep,
Spend the time.
we'll just do it. We'll just do it all over again, and then we'll let Nick talk about how much he hates Star Wars. You know what? You know what? Actually, we do need to do a show about Star Wars, and
Yeah.
Josh, if you want to be back on. Hi everybody, this is Jonathan from Radio Tokyo, and apparently we had a slight issue during the initial stream. As you heard it, just a few seconds ago for you, but it's actually more like half an hour for me, because I've been working on editing the video and everything. You heard a mention of the stream actually having cut out, and it did. It unfortunately did cut out the last 2 or 3 minutes of the show, so you do not get to hear Joshua Gundamu having come back and us have uh, our final say where we talked about our problems with the Hasbro toy line. So I'm sorry about that. I really am genuinely truly sorry about that. But we will uh, probably on Monday. I'll try and get Nick on, and we'll you know talk about the issues with Hasbro. If not, we'll make it a show later on. But I just want to let all of you know, no, the stream, did not get canceled on purpose. It was entirely an accident. There was some buffering issue or something. I'm not sure, but it cut off. So that's what happened. That's what you missed. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Joshua Gundamu for having been on here. Certainly and truly appreciate it. Look forward to talking to all of you on Monday. Of course, we're going to have, regular lineup next week, and we'll have some fun. We'll have a wonderful time. Thank you for listening. Remember to like us on Facebook. If you're, right now, you can see, our regular background here. The address is right there. Go to Facebook, look us up, give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, share this video, comment on it, let us know what you think. Tell Nick how much you had him. Tell Danny he needs to come back, and let Joshua Gundamu know that you certainly appreciated him being on the show, because we certainly appreciated him a great deal. And while you're at it, give his channel a like, subscribe, and whatnot. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.